Presenter from LG universities, but they are a bit late, so they asked to hold the first. Sorry, they asked to hold the last presentations first. So we have a first presentation, which is from Rifa University, Nur Al Huda. Title is LRDR Technology in Preserving Culture Heritage and Enhancing Heritage Tourism Experience. I believe this is the right topic I pronounced. So, please share the presentation.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I am Nur Al Huda and I will be talking about LIDAR technology in preserving culture heritage and enhancing the heritage tourism experience. Before we move on to the actual practice or the case study that I have conducted, let me break down a few key terminologies and concepts. The first one is culture heritage, that according to UNESCO's definition, UNESCO's World Heritage, it refers to the sites, monuments, buildings, and objects with historical, aesthetic, archaeological, scientific, ethnological, anthropological value. So to preserve the history and to understand why we are the way we are today, we try to document the heritage sites in an effort to conserve heritage. The process of systematically capturing information about historical sites, building, artifacts, and landscapes is heritage documentation. There are different methods. Of course, the traditional method where we do manual drawings that take up to many months, of course. Then we have high resolution photographs that can be stitched together via photogrammetry. And then we have historical records in case all the information is lost about the site, then we rely on the archives. And then 3D digital models via LIDAR scanning or laser scanning or photogrammetry. Today our focus is LIDAR scanning. LIDAR stands for light detection and ranging, and these devices use lasers to create incredibly detailed and accurate 3D representation of places that would be hard to describe using other means. So basically LIDAR scanner uses light pulses that then record metric information in the form of point cloud or cloud data that we can edit. And these, you can see the points. Each point can be edited, and then it can be converted to the 3D digital model directly. The device is attached to the system or software which converts the meshes into 3D models. If we take the example of Rawat Fort, if we try to document this site, this is in Rawalpindi from Mughal era. It will take, of course, several days and months if we go for the traditional methods, but a LIDAR device can gather many millions of data points per second and we can create a model within an hour. But the problem is professional LIDAR scanners or devices are quite expensive and are not affordable for everyone. So we have a cheap alternative, relatively cheap alternative, that is iPhone or Apple's devices. And different researchers have conducted different researches to understand the accuracy and authenticity of culture heritage documentation via Apple's devices. Apple's integration of LIDAR sensors in its devices has enabled the creation of detailed 3D models for architecture and culture heritage documentation, highlighting the technology's potential in heritage conservation efforts. Similarly, iPad Pro and iPhone from 12 Pro model to 15 Pro and Pro Max models, and iPad Pro models from 2020, there are LIDAR scanners in every device that can be used for surveying purposes. Accuracy of LIDAR scanning on iPhone, we can expect the error of ±1 centimeter in case of small artifacts and error of ±10 centimeter in case of large structures. Then we have point cloud quality. Studies indicate that point clouds generated by iPhone LIDAR scans can provide high resolution models suitable for culture heritage documentation. Comparative performance, professional LIDAR scanners take up to 1 hour for output, and Apple's LIDAR scanner take up to 22 minutes from scanning to mesh generation to textured model. And again, error margins, we can expect error of 0.02 to 0.04 meters in case of small objects. For case study, I have taken the site from Rawalpindi. Rawalpindi gained its popularity in early years as Buddhist center, and if we rely on the archaeological remains or data obtained from archaeological remains, the city was founded in 500 BCE when Alexander the Great attacked the subcontinent or invaded the subcontinent in 326 BCE. Raja Ambi was ruling this region. And Jahangir, the fourth Mughal ruler, also mentioned Rawalpindi and Gakhars in his book Tuzke Jahangiri. So Rawalpindi still has a lot of heritage sites, architecture heritage sites from different religions. The first one is three-story Jewish synagogue that is right at the behind of the building that I have scanned through LiDAR scanner. The other one is temple, a Hindu temple that still exists today in the same form, and the other one is mansion or haveli, belonging to a Jain trader. Conceptual framework, site was selected based on its accessibility. Can we access the site? Is the road wide enough to scan the building? Feasibility, are we allowed to scan the building? Did owners allow us to scan the building? What is the condition? Range estimation, because iPhone's range estimation goes up to 5 meters. And what is the significance of the site with respect to culture heritage? For LiDAR scanning, I have used iPhone 12 Pro with 3D scanner app, and external rechargeable light was used for the darker areas within the building. For photogrammetry, for detailed elements, for detailed documentation of elements like doors, arches, I have used photogrammetry. For that, Nikon D3400 was used with 2 lenses, and Metashape was used to stitch the photographs. Mesh generation was done through 3D scanner app, and the meshes were cleaned up in Blender, and then final walkthrough was created through Unreal Engine. The case study was done on Hotel Bago Bahar, that is on Maulvi Muhammad Hussain Road, Sadr. It was built as Haveli for an advocate in 1936, and it is in traditional Hindu style building with jharokas or balconies all around the building. There are 3 floors and 12 rooms. The first video is to give the overview how the hotel looks like and what is its layout. And the second video is a walkthrough that I have created through the meshes that were generated via LiDAR scanner. This is 3D scanner app, and this is the layout of the hotel. It is in good condition, but it still needs renovation or conservation because the building is about to give out. These are balconies all around the building. The first floor courtyard. This is a cellar, makeshift kitchen. And then this is the walkthrough that I have created through obtained from the meshes generated by LiDAR scanner. Since the structure was huge and we were not allowed to do rescans, so the whole building was scanned within 2 days, and we can expect the error of plus minus 10 centimeter, as I've already discussed. This is a screen around the hotel. We can see texture and materials used in the building, the general layout. The balconies, covered balconies, are called jharokas in local language, overlooking the street. This corridor leads to the courtyard of first floor. This case study was basically done to understand the authenticity of LiDAR scanner of iPhone in case of architecture heritage of Rawalpindi. Can we use iPhone or Apple's devices as an alternative to professional LiDAR devices? Then we have second floor or the top floor. We have makeshift kitchen and a courtyard of the first floor. We have 2 concrete benches to sit upon in the evening and 2 rooms in the front side. This whole walkthrough was generated in Unreal Engine. Limitations, of course, there were a lot of limitations while doing this case study. The first one is iPad or Apple's radar sensor has maximum effective range of 5 meters. That's why we couldn't get the exact or authentic or more accurate measures of the building. Then we have accuracy and precision. As I have mentioned before, that we can expect the, in case of small artifacts, error of plus minus 2 centimeter, but the building was huge, so the error of plus minus 10 centimeter was already expected, that we have already seen. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks.
That's the plus point of LiDAR scanner devices, because they can scan the building even in the presence of heavy vegetation, as you mentioned in forest, or in case of underground caves. I have mentioned a study before where it was mentioned that the scanner is good for, even the Apple's phone scanner is good for cave scanning. And but as I mentioned before, that for darker areas we will have to use lights. So we have to manage lights. So I have used external rechargeable light to enhance the lighting system.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so when the question is that how I can acquire LiDAR data, like how I can acquire.
Yes. For this case study, I have used iPhone 12 Pro, where I have downloaded a 3D scanner app, which is free to use. When we scan the building using 3D scanner app, it directly generates the mesh, and we can then download that mesh. There are options whether you want to download the mesh without texturing or with texturing. So if you are applying textures, then it will take a lot more minutes, like 22 minutes maximum. Then you can download the mesh. It will be complete model.
Right. And the second question is that does LiDAR work in rain, do you think?
Yes. I have not tried using it in rain since the building was scanned from the interior, but the light pulses that LiDAR uses crosses most of the limitations that photogrammetry creates. Like photogrammetry cannot be done in rain.
Right.
So LiDAR tries to cross all those hurdles that we face in photogrammetry.
Right, thank you. That's my two questions.
Thank you.
The first question, I think from the Andrew, is what's the name of the app? Is it available or something?
Yes, 3D scanner app. It is available in Apple Store. It's free of
3D
cost.
scanner app. Second thing is, have you compared it with any other app or other technology? Have you done the comparison?
I have not personally compared it, but I have tried to use Polycam. It is also available in App Store, and almost the results were same. But if you rely on the data that other researchers conducted, all of them have acquired almost same data in case of Apple's devices. But if we try to compare it with professional LiDAR scanners, then we will get more accurate data in professional devices. Apple has yet to upgrade its scanner.
Okay. So what's the way out? I mean, is it the processing or something like that, or the specialized scanner, or some the other specialized LiDAR scanner has the I mean the processing of the LiDAR scanners other than Apple devices? Are the main difference between them?
Yes, there is difference between them. They are more upgraded in terms of technology. When Apple introduced its scanner in iPhone 12 Pro, it has not upgraded since then. So Apple can upgrade its scanner. Second thing is, in my case, I'm trying to use Unreal Engine and Blender to create 3D models, like solidify this mesh into 3D models that we can touch in the form of game. I'm trying to do that right now at Unreal Engine, and hopefully I will then upload the 3D model, solid 3D model on Metaverse. That's my future goal.
Okay, but just seeing the video of the old fort and old building, just the idea that how There's a possibility and opportunity to integrate something like AI in that scanning also, that okay, this is the bench that you told us that this was the kitchen, this was the bench, and this was not in the good shape, but perhaps the AI can restructure the image to that thing and make the whole picture. I mean, it can be integrated some AI on that after
Yes,
that.
AI can be used, of course, to regenerate those meshes that or noise to lessen the noise that we have seen in meshes. But we can also use another method, that is reverse engineering or HBIM, where we try to do scans of the building, and then after treating those scans, we relying on archives or historical records, we try to rebuild the building, the missing elements, step by step, using 3D models like Autodesk or Maya or Blender today. We can use those for reverse engineering.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, thoughts? Anybody? Okay, thank you for the nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon. My name is Abdullah and I'm lecturer at Rifa International University. We are working mostly in game design department on 3D technologies, technologies, and incorporating those technologies, as Noor Huda, my colleague, shared previous presentation, where she was working on architectural heritage using radar technologies, 3D photogrammetry, and this. So my research, my presentation here is kind of same like that, but more focused on data visualizations on election and television production. Using web technologies to interact with Unreal Engine for television production. In 2014, the last election in Pakistan, we have saw that there was cut off from 4G mobile signals, but in cities we have access via LAN connections like Neatel and other connections, there are internet connections that provide internet via LAN. But in remote areas there was a big limitation to access election broadcast. So people had to rely on traditional TV broadcast to see election data and election updates. The issue raised was that traditional TV broadcast and data presented on TV screens were too much cluttered, and for the people in remote areas, especially with low literacy rates, this type of data that is just kind of overwhelming and kind of like too much data to be presented on single slide or single screen was very difficult for the people to understand in very small time. Like if you want to understand this data in one view, you are unable to understand this. Even in cities, this type of data is unable to understand in a quick way. So we started to think about the solution to overcome this problem. We have saw multiple broadcast solutions that internationally people are using, and we came to know that WizRT as a tool, broadcasting tool that allow 3D visualizations, were used by more than 100 international TV channels and were used for 2020 US election broadcast. But the issue with WizRT is that only one TV channel in Pakistan is currently have this technology to be used in TV production. Due to their high rates, and as you can see that their basic package start from 2,995. So this is just like a small package for smaller studios, but on larger scale on TV productions, you can't afford with a limited budget. So next thing is what we did to overcome this. We used web technologies to, and we use web technologies and interconnected with them with Unreal Engine to create a solution that can solve this problem. Here you can see the prototype. This is a prototype we developed to create 3D visualization, and the features of this Reveal 3D software is that, so this tool leverage Unreal Engine, Node.js and web technologies. This design enhance viewers comprehension during election broadcast. Here we can see the basic prototypes. We have developed a prototype and made some visuals using the data. One of the main feature of this is this tool work on real-time data. Here is the simple implementation of this solution. We have on the first stage we created a web-based panel using React technologies, React front-end technologies, to create a panel where we can update the data from different polling stations. And then this data was sent to Firebase, Google Firebase real-time database, and then that data was retrieved from Firebase using Node.js. And then this data was sent to Unreal Engine, and from Unreal Engine we have created, mixed up that data and created 3D visuals and mixed that with studio environments. And the studio was wholly created in 3D environments, and studio was in, we utilized mixed reality, 3D technologies and real-time data. And from Unreal Engine we have rendered output video, and then that output video was directly streamed to TV screens. The future work regarding this is we are working on scaling this tool and incorporating this tool in different scenarios like disaster management, weather forecast, weather broadcast and other tools. And we are working at Rifa International University. We're mostly working on in game design department on 3D tools and virtual reality products. Thank you very much. Any question, please?
Is it okay? Yeah. So my question is, lots of people are working on these type of websites or things basically for election purpose. Okay, but here comes the main question. The main question is, how do you maintain the integrity and accuracy of such system? For example, if you're conducting elections in a country, so for example, I guess the last US election were online, and they were just sort of blaming the Russia for attacks in their election system. And such things can happen here as well. So the main question is, how do you implement security, and how your system can like maintain the integrity and accuracy of the election data and all these things? The main question is that.
The first point is, this is not for election purpose. This is for broadcasting purpose. So the representatives of election commission or TV channels will be sitting there in polling stations. And one of the main, this research is solving a main issue that was also, there is a small gap between information transfer. There is a simple one gap, that is database. We are sending data directly to database. If something happened to database, Google Firebase database security breaches, then, but while sending data directly to the database, we only have 1 point to be attacked. Like if someone attack Google Firebase database, then he can reach that information or change or manipulate that. But due to reducing sources of information so we have actually lowered the chances of making this data available to attacks or something like. Any question?
Any question? So have you compared with the, I mean, what is the current status of this research?
There is no publicly available solution regarding this. Some corporate companies, as I have already shared, Wizarty is working on this, but there is no cheap or open source solution or open research is available regarding this solution. Some companies are providing their solution, but the issue still is they are very costly, and normal small studios, production houses can't afford that solution.
Okay, I have one question or one comment. You mentioned sports as another use. How long does it take to render the data?
We are not rendering data here.
Okay.
One thing, data is directly coming to Unreal Engine, and on that data, live visualizations are created and sent to live TV broadcast. We are not rendering that data.
Okay.
We are simply, Unreal is simply processing, creating visualizations, and sending that directly to the TV screen. This will be using Unreal Engine Play mode, just like a game is as game run on a computer screen. Same, we are using a Play mode technology in Unreal that you use normally for games.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment or something? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this would bring us our next presenter, Ms. Shamsa.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum salam.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yeah, please make her presenter.
First of all, I would like to thank the platform APAN58 for allowing me to present my topic today. Our research is on flood exposure, social support, and mental health outcomes among post-flood victims in Pakistan. This was authored by myself. I'm Shamsa Kawal, from a clinical psychologist from the Institute of Applied Psychology, University of Punjab, Lahore, Pakistan. And my co-authors are Mr. Amir Mahmood Bajwa, Bilal Ahmed, and Hima Bhutani. We all know that floods are a very serious problem that have especially impacted our geographical region, especially in Pakistan with climate change that has been increasing recently. The social impacts of disasters on our communities have been a top topic of interest for many hazard researchers. And disasters have significantly affected not only community norms, but also individual behaviors. This problem with floods has been increasing in frequency, intensity, and duration over the last few years. The last research that was done was in 2010, but we are trying to do researches now as well. Pakistan declared a state of emergency because of flooding on 25th August 2022, and it has had devastating consequences. Which have been estimated to impact over 33 million people, resulting in 1,730 deaths, as well as estimated losses of about $30 billion. The Minister of Climate, Pakistan, Shahid Rahman, also said that the provinces of Sindh and Balochistan have received more rainfall on average this year, with the percentages being about 784% and 500% increase, respectively. He said that 1/3 of the country is underwater and there is no dry land to pump the water out. This is a crisis of unimaginable proportions. He also claims that widespread media coverage has been received for this problem. We can see on this chart, on this graph, that Pakistan has been receiving a lot of rainfall. The top left corner, we can see the amount of rainfall. In the top left corner, we can see the amount of rainfall that has been coming in Pakistan, and in the bottom left, we see the amount of rainfall that has been accumulated. So we see that it is much more. And we also see that the red color actually shows us the amount of flooding that has happened. The area that has been impacted most is Sindh and Balochistan, and then Punjab. The impact overview says that there have been about 1,000 fatalities in a matter of just 1 month and 15 days. So that's 14 June or September. And this graph is from, this picture is from the European Commission. So about 1,000 fatalities were seen, 6,000 people were injured, 4 lakh people are in relief camps, and more than 33 million people are affected. There have also been around 1 million partially or fully damaged houses. We conducted this research because there is a huge research gap. Natural disasters have long-term impacts on mental health, and therefore it is necessary to understand on communities. There is a growing body of literature that is focusing on floods. However, specifically for mental health, the last research that was done was done by Akbar and Bhutta in 2020, and it was focused on the floods that occurred in 2010. So no recent floods have been studied, and so we really are emphasizing the need for further exploration. Our study seeks to address this gap by investigating the mental health outcomes that are associated with flood exposure among post-flood victims in Pakistan, specifically focusing on the 2022 floods in the most affected districts, which are Tonsa Sharif and Jamshoro in Sindh and Punjab. We also want to moderate the role of social support in relationship with flood exposure and mental health outcomes. Our objectives are three. Majorly, we want to see the relationship between severity of flood exposure and mental health outcomes, as I already mentioned, in post-flood victims. We also want to see the moderating role of social support in relation between flood exposure and mental health outcomes. Thirdly, we want to compare the mean scores of flood exposure, mental health outcomes, and levels of social support between flood victims in Tonsa, Sharif, Larkana, and different regional differences are to be checked. We have three hypotheses. The first one is that we assume that there is going to be a positive correlation between the severity of flood exposure and mental health outcomes among post-flood victims. Secondly, we assume that social support will moderate the relationship between flood exposure and mental health outcomes. Thirdly, the post-flood victims in Larkana district will report higher mean scores on flood exposure. This is because Sindh has lower resources, and so we assume that the adverse effects there will be more severe. Our hypothesis model is the model that is comparing these three things, that is taking into account flood exposure, social support, and mental health outcomes, and this is a social support model. The methodology is that we used was the research design was correlational, and our sampling strategy was purposive. The participants consisted of about 595 people. On average, the age was 34 with a standard deviation of 10. We collected physically the data from flood victims of Tonsa Sharif as well as Larkana. Our sampling frame was taken from District Disaster Management Authority, and we used SPSS version 0.27 for statistical analysis. We took legal permissions from all the authorities and then conducted a pilot test, after which the participants were informed about the study's purpose and their rights. Inclusion criteria was 18 years or older. The people self-identified as flood victims in the district of Tonsa Sharif and Larkana, and this included homeowners or individuals displaced, as well as people who lost livelihoods and family members who died. And the exclusion criteria was people who already had pre-existing mental health conditions or cognitive impairments, and also people who are currently receiving treatment for medical and mental health issues, or who were unable to provide consent. Overall, we saw that men and women were half and half in the sample, and also people from Tonsa Sharif were almost 50%, and Larkana also. Mostly 70% of these people belong to rural areas, and majority of them, about 40%, were illiterate. The income level was also very low for most of the people. In employment status, overall, we had full-time employed that were 33%, and partially and unemployed were lower. On the basis of what sort of aid distribution they got and how satisfied they were from the aid distribution that they received, about 22% were satisfied, 10% were neutral, but almost 70% were not satisfied by the amount of aid that they received. Majority of them were single in our research, and the family size, if they were in one, was about 6, based on 6 individuals. The religion was majority, 70% were Muslim, and we saw that home ownership status was also pretty much a major factor. We took their biodata, and we obviously checked the demographic And after that, our assessment measures were depression, anxiety, stress scale, so DAS-21, and also multidimensional scale of perceived social support, MSPSS. Our descriptive statistics and reliability coefficients showed that on the DAS-21 scale, most of the three variables, depression, anxiety, and stress, were actually very reliable, and there were significant findings that we found in them. And in MMSPI, we also found significant findings, which were excellent. The reliability was excellent. We used to measure the flood exposure severity and mental health outcomes among post-flood victims. We used the Pearson product moment correlation analysis. And in this, we noticed that there was actually a positive correlation between all of these, depression, anxiety, stress, and the flood exposure severity. So as the severe flood increased, also people experienced more depression, more anxiety, more stress. Thirdly, in the simple moderation of analysis, social support on the relationship between flood exposure and mental health, we saw that the flood exposure has a significant positive effect on mental health outcomes, indicating that higher levels of flood exposure are associated with worse mental health outcomes. And social support has a significant negative effect on the mental health outcomes, as we can see from the values shown here, suggesting that higher levels of social support are associated with better mental health outcomes. The interaction team also, the interaction term is also significant. It indicates that the social support buffers that adverse effects of flood exposure on the mental health outcomes. On this graph, we can see how social support is impacting the effect of flood exposure severity on mental health outcomes. X-axis shows flood exposure severity, and the y-axis we can see mental health outcomes. As when there is low social support, there is much higher and adverse effect on mental health, even if we keep the flood exposure constant. However, as we would assume, high social support decreases the adverse mental health outcome. When we compare the participants from Tansa Sharif and Larkana on key variables, we see that in the mean comparison, the mean value is actually very significant for flood exposure severity, depression, anxiety, perceived stress in Sindh. However, social support has more effect in Punjab. In conclusion, our study demonstrated that the flood exposure significantly affected mental health outcomes among flood victims in Punjab, with higher exposure levels associated with more symptoms of depression, anxiety, and perceived. We also saw the social support moderated the role between these, and notably, the victims in Sindh reported higher levels of greater mental health challenges. These findings highlight the need to actually bring in targeted interventions that will increase the social support, and we also need future research in order to assess the specific needs of these people and bring in policies that are targeted. The limitations of our study were several. First of all, the study might not have been able to perform in-depth qualitative interviews due to time and budget constraints. Secondly, we cannot rely on self-reported data entirely because it may have bias. And thirdly, the study focused on only 2 districts, Tansa Sharif in Punjab and Larkana and Sindh, which may limit the generalizability of our findings to other flood-affected regions of Pakistan. For the future, we recommend that research should aim to address these limitations by employing longitudinal designs so that over time we can see and better understand the pathways that lead to these findings. We would also suggest that more diverse range of regions are incorporated and other clinical assessments for mental health indicators would be good. Additionally, future studies should also explore the role of moderating factors such as economic support, community resilience, and healthcare access to provide a more comprehensive understanding. The research policy implications are that the findings that we have done in the study, they have a significant, we basically think that the policymakers should prioritize the development and implementation of targeted therapies, as I already mentioned, to help mitigate these adverse effects. And also, we would like that there should be a training for the community members to provide peer support and establish support groups with each other, which would be much better for their mental health. Policies should also focus on building community resilience through education, strengthening social networks, and by tailoring interventions to regions. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Samsa. I would like to take question after this presentation because Mr. Etsham has messaged me that he is officially busy, so he has taken a very quick time from his busy schedule. So we'll note the question if anybody has. So we will take right after this presentation, next presentation. So
Oh.
Mr. Etsham, if you can present your presentation if you are available. So we go ahead with your presentation, then we take the question in after your presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible? My presentation is visible? Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Etsham Hussain, Head Department of Korean Language and Culture, National University of Modern Languages. The theme of my presentation for today's conference is Gandhara Civilization, unveiling Pakistan's cultural heritage, which is very near to the HEC's latest presentation, latest conference, Eculture and Pakistan cultural aspects. To be very quick, I would like to share my first slide here. Pakistan and Buddhist world. Islamic Republic of Pakistan, with no doubt population of exceeding 240 million and abundant natural resources. In East Asia and the Middle East, via our historical Silk Road or Silk Route, holds a very significant strategic importance in this area. So I have chosen this topic, why the Silk Road is important for Pakistan and the Buddhist world. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are very well aware that diplomatic relations between various nations are very crucial and hold significant importance in various areas such as human development, education, investment, and various other domains. And Pakistan, although no doubt we have a very good relation with the Buddhist world, but still there is a lot more needed to improve these bilateral relations. It means that we have a lot to do in this domain, which is a very significant research gap from the academic side. And for Pakistan, it has become very important to strengthen these ties through diverse initiatives and platforms. And we are aware that government to government and business to business and from people to people, there are several efforts are being done on the different fronts, but there is a significant lack of academic involvement in this area has been noted. And I think that academia should conduct a thorough research to explore how Pakistan and Buddhist world can strengthen their ties to gain maximum benefit from mutual cooperation. Therefore, it has become very important for us to explore various methods and techniques to explore the different ways to enhance these ties with the Buddhist nations, between the Pakistan and Buddhist nations. And we are aware that this yellow generation mean China, Korea, Japan, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam. These are very influential countries. They have a very important position in the region. So for Pakistan, it has become very important to strengthen its bilateral relations to these nations. In this respect, I think, as per my perception, one very important approach to bring the Buddhist world and Pakistan more closer to explore the long-standing historical and cultural connections once they have shared impact in some point of history. And it is crucial to recognize and strengthen these connections at all levels, mean government to government, G to G, B to B, and very importantly, people to people. because these are the levels, the historical relations and the cultural ties which the people share with each others, they are considered to be very important for the nations. As I mentioned, historical and cultural connections between nations are a significant source of mutual respect and affection. In fact, why people do care these historical and cultural connections? Because the peoples of various nations, these historical ties resonate within the collective psyche of the people of that particular nations. That's why the common people put a very important importance to these historical relations. So this is my main idea, that we should hit these cultural and historical ties to improve the bilateral relations between Buddhist world and Pakistan. And no doubt, these historical connections and cultural ties foster a positive and peaceful image that can lead to tangle various potential benefits, economics, and every kind of tangible benefits for all. Especially people-to-people connections can have a very positive impact on various sectors such as trade and investment. And point should be noted that trade and investment in each and every field, not some specific, everywhere, and mainly tourism. Tourism is considered to be a very important tool for the economic development of any country. Pakistan, and this is, I think this is the main problematic area for Pakistan, that we are far behind in the tourism sector with the other nations, and ladies and gentlemen are very well aware that other nations are getting the benefit, maximum benefits, ultimate benefits from their tourism industry, and Pakistan is still very behind the other nations to hit the tourist sectors. And the Buddhist world and the region where our Buddhist culture lies, we have a very rich Buddhist roots here, very sacred places here, which are millions of Buddhist devotees consider very important for their religious activities. But we are currently unable to hit that area, to improve, to enhance our tourism activities in Pakistan. Why I'm saying this? Pakistan and Buddhist world share a very historical, long-standing historical and cultural connections that can be leveraged to foster stronger and stronger bilateral relations between Pakistan and these yellow generation countries or Buddhist world. These deep-rooted historical bonds can give us a very crucial cornerstone for bilateral relations in future. And there is a notion, there is a myth that is guided by a new maxim: the convergence of culture, a convergence of interests. So we should do some practical work very enthusiastically to bring the nations which are very close to us. In once point of time, we were very close to that nations, and that are after 2 or 3 more slides, ladies and gentlemen will be able to grab the idea about this convergence of culture, a convergence of interest. And ladies and gentlemen are very well aware that Pakistan is a homeland of renowned Buddhist mystics and scholars such as Asaranga, Viswabandhu, Guru Rinpoche, and the very famous and sacred monk Maranatha. This Maranatha or Malananda, this name is, we find the name of this monk Maranatha, very famous and very venerable monk who traveled via Silk Road to China, Japan, Korea, and he spread and promulgated the Buddhism in this area. So if we just consider the monk Maranatha a common, a shared personality, to enhance and further the betterment of the bilateral relation between these Buddhist world. This monk Maranatha can be a very valuable personality for Pakistan if we can. What we can say, if we can just promote the travel route of Maranatha, where he one point of history, 2000 years back, he traveled and he used this Silk Road. By exploring the means of different to enhance the cultural relation between Buddhist world, I think the name of Maranatha is a very valuable, very important for Pakistan. Why? Because this Maranatha was born in Sawabi, a Chota Lahore, that is in current district KPK. He, one point of time in history, he traveled from Silk Road to the China, and he spread the Buddhism the entire world. China, Japan, Korea, and Central Asia and other parts of the world. So this man, this monk Maranatha, has a very significant importance for Pakistan to enhance the bilateral relations between the countries where Buddhism is being practiced. Pakistan and Buddhist has a shared history, and the cultural ties between Pakistan and the entire Buddhist world are based on a shared Buddhist heritage of Gandhara civilization. Gandhara civilization is very well-known civilization, which is very well common people of China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, and Hong Kong, and this yellow generation region. Each and every person is very commonly known this Gandhara civilization. So this is very important aspects of our cultural roots. This is the map of Gandhara civilization. Once Gandhara's civilization existed in mainly the Peshawar Valley, Pothwar Plateau, and Afghanistan Jalalabad region. This was the three main and important cities that's in history. Purshapura, that is older name of Peshawar, and Pushkalavati, that is Charsada, current modern day Charsada, and the Takshashila, which is Taxila. Everyone is very well aware of this Taxila. All three main capital cities of Gandhara civilization all are existed. Currently, they are in Pakistan. So we should understand what kind of religious important heritage we have in Pakistan, because the Gandhara's three main capital cities, they currently are in Pakistan. So we can lure the Buddhist devotees, their scholars, and common Buddhist people to Pakistan to enhance the tourist activities. Actually, Gandhara became a major center of Buddhism in Indian subcontinent from 3rd century BC, before Christ era, to approximately 1200 Common Era CE. And it was very famous civilization at that point of time. And it was a huge learning center at that time in the Gandhara civilization. Taxila was the oldest university of this universe. The first ever university was built in Taxila, where 63 different courses, including astronomy, philosophy, Veda, surgery, politics, warfare, commerce, music, archery, and etc., they were used to taught in this Taxila University. So the Taxila or Taxila University is considered to be first ever university in this universe. The Gandhara was situated at the Silk Road, the crossroads of cultures of Iranian, Greek, Roman, Indian. So that's why Silk Road is considered to be a crossroads on the crossroads of cultures. And from this location, from this point, Gandharian culture spread to the other part of the of the world. And according to the Pali, which is the official language of the Buddhist, that Gandhara civilization, the scholars and students from Greece, Persia, Central Asia, they used to come here and study it in Texla University. This is another map route of spread of Buddhism from China to Japan, Korea, and other parts of the world. 326 before Christ, Alexander the Great, when he invaded here, that time another Hellenic infusion became the part of this Gandhara civilization, and a huge mighty Buddhist religion which is called Mahana Buddhism that came into existence. And this is the Mahana Buddhism which is being practiced in China, Korea, and Japan currently. And particularly in Korea, Mahana Buddhism is the second largest Buddhism sect. So from this area, Greco-Buddhists are also influenced the art of China, Korea, and Japan. Under the Indo-Greeks and the Kushan, the hybridized culture connecting the Occidental and the Oriental flourished the Gandhara civilization further and the entire remaining part of the world. Mahana school of I have elaborated a bit before that Mahana school of South Korean Buddhism was introduced to the ancient kingdom of Paekche. Paekche is an ancient kingdom of Korea, 18 BC to 60 AD, one of the three kingdoms located in southwestern part of South Korea in 384 AD. Monk Maranatha was the first ever teacher who spread and taught Mahayana Buddhism in Korea. And as I elaborated earlier, that he born in Chotalao, Sawabi, and he belonged to here, and he went via Silk Road to China, Korea, Japan, and promulgated the Buddhism there. We can find the different traces of Mahayana Buddhisms in other part of the world as well. This is the UNESCO World Heritage List where Sukkuram Grotto, which is part of Pulguksa in Gyeongju Province, North Gyeongsang Province in Korea, that was inspired by the Gandharian art. So we can find the traces of Mahayana Buddhism in other part of the world as well. If we look at our potential, that Buddhist tourism has an estimated market of more than $100 million across the world. And the 97% of the world Buddhists are concentrated in East and Southeast Asia. So, and this whole region is connected with Silk Route. A survey was done in 2016 from the Buddhist population, and out of 58 million Buddhist devotees, 2.9 million people, they showed they have an interest to visit Pakistan. So that's why this Silk Route is very important for Pakistan to improve its tourism activities. This is a glimpse of Buddhist population in entire world: South Korea, Mongolia, Japan, Taiwan, China. 21.90% in China, 54.5% in Mongolia, 33% Japan, 21% in Taiwan and China. They all belong to Buddhist population, and their sacred places all are located in Pakistan. They want to come here. We can't even imagine if we can just explore the new ways and new techniques to lure these Buddhist devotees in Pakistan. So we have a huge amount of we can get from this tourism industry in Pakistan. What should we do here to highlight historical? Our main goal is to highlight historical Gandhara civilization and Silk Route and enhance understanding, awareness of cross-cultural diversity of Pakistan. We should reinforce Pakistan cultural diplomacy efforts and help promote cultural religious tourism by exploring the linkages of Gandhara civilization with the Buddhist world. We should have a solid forum for promotion of Pakistan cross-cultural diversity across the region. That is the Buddhist world. for the interfaith harmony and development. HEC's role is very important to help academia who are involved promoting the cultural and religious activities. We to create a research cluster from the researcher and scholars of the diverse fields to help them to promote the tourist activities. Establishment of a Gandhara chair is very important in different universities to conduct a comprehensive research on this area, which is a very serious gap. What we are doing in Namal, to be very brief, now coming to the conclusion, last year we organized a national conference in here. The title of the conference was The Traces of Buddhism in Pakistan and its Intercultural Importance for Pakistan and Korea. Last year, 24 May 2023. So these are some glimpses, some pics of that conference. DG CPAC, Dr. Safdar Ali Shah was the keynote speaker of that national conference, and he was the keynote speaker of opening session as well. Some important pics of that conference. Korean embassy was on board with us, with the Department of Korean Language and Culture, and first secretary embassy of Republic of Korea. He was the chief guest and he chaired the national conference. These are the pics, opening ceremonies and the academic sessions. We had some very renowned scholars who presented their research work in academic session.